Hi, hello. So, for today's video, I wanted to do another concept corner, which these aren't all related in any way. Like my last video, I did a concept idea for a video game about vampires that I wanted to do one day. This is just me talking about a story I want to do, or I don't know what I want to make it, but I really like the story, and I'm drawing the main character. And for this video, right now on the screen, I have, I'm going to explain the story, and these are three characters that are very important. So the main character, Australia, that's how I pronounce it. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. Stella Nova, which isn't her real name, but that's what I've been calling her until I figure out her real name, and then the universe. Those are the names you need to know. Okay, so now I'm going to tell all of you this story. So, Australia is the daughter of Stella Nova. I tried to make that very apparent when designing Stella Nova. I decided, for the story, basically, Stella Nova in the universe are as old as time, and Australia is about 300,000 years old. So 3000, comma 000. If I said that wrong. And basically, Stella Nova decides that when humans, or at least humans as we know them, which Google told me was 300,000 years ago, started to pop up, Stella Nova's never seen anything like it. So she wanted to go down to Earth to see these things, right? Because she's not exactly omnipotent or can see everything. The universe has that ability, but she does not. And so she tries to put herself as close as she can put her form into a human form. So with a lot of these gods, because there are other gods in the story, they can't fully put themselves into a human form because of the nature of how they are. Like, the universe is basically just the expansiveness of everything. Just that is the universe, that its consciousness is spread everywhere. And then Stella Nova is basically a giant cluster of stars at the center of the universe. When they're not in their forms, in their human forms, or their more human forms. So Stella Nova comes down, which is why they don't look very human. But Stella Nova comes down and sees these humans and is very interested in them and wants to know more about them and lives with them on Earth for a significant amount of time, learning about Earth and even teaching them things like how to guide, how to like find your way across the Earth with the stars. And she ends up falling in love with a human and having a bunch of kids. I would say the amount, but like I don't think it's worth it because it was just a lot. But most of these children were mortals. They were mortals, but they had some sort of magical ability. But they would live the length of a human and die, except for Australia, who was more like her mother and was more like a god and was able to live for eternity. But she had more of because immortal consciousness, or the way of immortals think versus how mortals think, in my mind it'd be very different, because if you had all the time in the world, your philosophies would be very different. But she has this, but Australia thinks more like both, which, oops, I hit my mic. I'm talking with my hands again, which makes her really kind of just sad and like brooding, but also very kind. Because most of the gods are not very kind because they have this, I have all the time in the world and you're beneath me sort of attitude. Even her mother has that sort of ability to, that sort of feeling to her, or like, attitude. And basically, circling back to the children, after all these children are born and are like roaming around, the universe is like, hey, you can't do that. We're together, because space is ever expansive, and Stella Nova is basically like the queen of space, and then the universe is the creator of space. So obviously, they'd be married, or I wouldn't call it married because I don't call it married, but I can only equate it to being married. but they're set to be together for all of time. For all of time. And so the universe goes by all pronouns because they're technically everything and also nothing. So I'll use they and he and she. You get the deal. So they weren't very happy about this. Obviously, the universe isn't the best. At least in this story, the universe, at least as this god, is very cruel, believing whatever it creates he owes them nothing, but they owe him everything. And he didn't technically create Stella Nova, but they created the space that she exists in. So, well, he believes that, well, everything is entitled to him, or they believe everything's entitled to them. So they were like, no. So he got a human form, and then they decided that they were gonna just kill, because all the children that he knew of were mortal. So he killed them all, and then he killed the human that Stella Nova fell in love with. And except for Australia, because Australia could not be killed because she's immortal. And they were very upset by this. So they banished her to live in a realm where basically the only thing, they banished her to a realm of like stars and clouds where she had no contact with any other living being. Like, the closest thing that she got to contact was her mother would send her gifts and relics of the human world, maybe every 5,000 years. So she was stuck in this realm. This is just her backstory, which is like, holy shit, it's like 8 minutes. But if I were to make a story, it would be because she does get freed at a point where basically at some point between her getting banished and those 5,000 years of her getting little presents, she gets the scythe that you see. And the scythe is it's a very strong, powerful weapon that can basically wield the power of the stars on whomever it swings at. So it could instantly kill any mortal. And the reason that her mother gave this to her was because at some point Australia is going to be freed, because there are other gods. I said this in the beginning of the video, other than Stella Nova in the universe. And Stella Nova isn't even her real name. It's more of like an alias, I guess. I haven't thought of her real name, but that's what the humans call her, so that's what I'm going to call her. At some point, they all start fighting with each other. There are too many gods in control of too many things, and they all want to be at the top. They all want to be the universe, because the universe is kind of an asshole. Like, the universe cannot create other gods. Other gods just spawn in whenever they are needed. But the universe doesn't control that. But the universe thinks because they make things, that's the reason they spawn in, so they make the gods. So they're the king of the gods, but the other gods are like, no, you're not. We just spawn in, right? You don't create us, you spawn us in. The only space sort of god-like things that the universe can create are stars. Which in this world, the cores of stars are like inside, like the stars are like the sun, but inside are like people. Not people, but like little gods. But they never leave their little shell they don't leave their little black hole the core of their star until the star dies. But they're not really gods, they're just beings, They're immortal beings, but they're not gods. They don't have any will or control over anything. And basically this fighting leads to them to actually defeating the universe and Australia being able to be freed by her mother, but at the cost of everything for Earth is now extremely warped. And because the thing that created them, they didn't die, but they got taken out of power and it warped everything. And I don't know what I would do with that information just yet, but I'll do something. Thank you so much for listening, if you did. That's all I have for now. I hope you enjoyed. I'm not completely speed recording it. If you don't get a video after this video, my state might freeze. You can guess where my state is. It might freeze, and I might not be able to get access to my editing equipment. So my apologies if that does happen. If that does happen and you're a subscriber, just spam my videos so the algorithm doesn't punish me for freezing over, because my videos are actually doing really good. I'm really happy. But sorry that I'm getting off track. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have any questions about this story, if I can answer them, because I haven't figured this out all the way, if I can answer them, I'll answer them. If it seems like a kind of spoilery thing, if I do ever release this story fully in any form, like a video game, a comic, a show, I don't know quite yet, a book, if I ever do that, if I see it as spoilery to that, I won't tell you, and I'll just say, hey, wait for this. But thank you guys so much for watching, and subscribe if you liked, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.